Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Blerdlines podcast. This is Frankie K.
And Chancellor D.
So, the first day of the Oak City Comicon, we attended a panel called Black Heroes Matter 2.0. It featured DMC along with Afua Richardson. The panel talks about the importance of the Black representation in comic books and cosplay industry, also diversity. They also touch base on many other topics involving the POC community. Community.
All right,
I know words, everybody. I know I butchered these things. So, any thoughts about this panel?
One thing I do want to say, for anybody that's listening to the show, whether you're a first time listener or been listening from the beginning, if you feel like your family, your friends, society tells you that, Black people don't do this, or, we don't do this, our people don't do this, and you're into geek culture, nerd culture, and you feel like you're trying to hide the person that you are, just listen to this panel and really hope that this inspires you to embrace the person that society kind of forces you to hide and just be who you are.
That is true. So take a listen and learn some stuff.
How y'all feeling out there? Y'all ready to get this panel started?
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna give it a few more minutes, and everybody who wait in here, they will trickle in eventually. Before we get started, just to give you a quick ground layout of how it's gonna go. This isn't your regular panel. I know all of you go to panels, you're up there, the panelists are talking about me, I do this, I do that, and you're like, okay, wake me up when that panelist starts talking and you start dozing off. And I found that what's lacking in panels is usually you go to a panel, the panelists talk, and then everybody lines up at the mic to try to out-question the other person or out-nerd them with a question. In X-Men 101, panel 4, you saw that Dr. Doom did blah, blah, blah. But this isn't that panel. This is an open dialogue. So we're gonna open up with a statement, and after that, just gonna be a free-form talk. So imagine if you're at one of these artists' table and you're talking to them. That's how this panel is gonna be. We're gonna open up with a statement, and after that statement, you'll raise your hand, I'll point to you, and from whatever you say, they'll answer it, and we'll build on that until we get to the next subject. Even though the panel is called Black Heroes Matter 2.0, we're going to address heroes of color, different genders, different races, different religions. What you're seeing as far as what you like, what's lacking. This guy here may know of a certain comic book where there's a Muslim hero that you never heard of. And because he makes that statement, now you have something that you've geared towards. These creators up here may have been thinking about, well, I'm thinking about maybe adding this, that, and the other. But feedback from the audience may generate that, and the next thing you know, because of the open dialogue, they're moving forward with that on that agenda. With that being said, a few things won't be tolerated. There are no stupid questions, okay? Only thing I ask is please don't ask somebody to sign something here during the panel. Come down to the table to get that done. Secondly, we're all gonna tolerate each other. There is no place for hate speech, anti-this, anti-that in this panel. That won't be tolerated, you will be asked to leave. We're gonna respect each other and have a good time. With that being said, we're gonna get this panel started. My name is Eddie Newsome, and welcome to Black Heroes Matter 2.0. Now, with that being said, I am going to let each of the panelists introduce themselves as far as their names, what they're working on, what they're doing, and we're going to get this party started. So first of all, we have...
Hi, everybody. I'm Charlie Rocket Cosplay, I have been cosplaying for about 3 years, but I have very close to maybe 60 costumes already that I mostly make handmade. And I am also a working mom. But, yay, working moms! But basically, I've been reading comic books my whole life. My dad used to go out of town for business trips and bring my sister back like jewelry and little Barbies, and he'd bring me back a comic book. So that's where I started. I've been in love with comic books ever since then. And yeah, so that's why I'm here.
My name is Dawood Anyabwile. The producer of the Brother Man comic book series, which actually has been around since 1990. So I'm at 26 years in the comic book, independent comic book publishing arena. I'm also a production artist. I've worked at production studios on the East and West Coast on shows such as Daria, Rugrats, Wild Thornberries, and I was a character designer, and also I worked at Turner Studios and Cartoon Network for about 12 years, but I'm back on my independent route with Big City Entertainment. We just came out with this graphic novel, which is the all-new Brother Man Revelation graphic novel, which received 2 book awards last year, Story of the Year and Best Artist. So my thing is I'm really about independent, high quality entertainment products. So I'll talk a little bit more about this today.
Hey guys, my name is Afua Richardson. I am a comic book illustrator, a musician, a singer, a voice actor, and I just had to put Jane of all trades at the end of my card because I was tired of all the backslashes. But some of my work includes my most recent run of World of Wakanda, Black Panther for Marvel, as well as Wildstorm for DC, All-Star Batman, Attack on Titan for Kodansha, Captain Marvel, Captain America, and the Mighty Avengers, as well as many other things. And I'm in the process of writing my own stories right now, so we look forward to that. I look forward to speaking to you guys. I'm excited about this.
Hey y'all, my name is Daryl McDaniels. People know me as DMC from Run DMC. The reason why I'm here, 3 years ago, I put out a graphic novel, comic books, and started my own company called Daryl Main's Comics. And people were like, why you want to get into comics now? Before hip-hop came over the bridge from the Bronx to change my life, I was a Catholic school kid that was always on the honor roll, got straight A's, 5 and 6 stars on the forehead, and all I did was read and draw comics. I had to put down my drawing pen and my sketch pad when hip-hop came over the bridge to Queens, and I picked up my black and white notebook and started writing rhymes. But a lot of what I did in my music was influenced by the inspiration and creativity and the art that was given to me from comic books. That's why, to this day, I'm known as the King of Rock. That all came possible because of comic books. And 3 years ago, I went to have a music meeting with a young man named Riggs Morales, who was Eminem's right-hand man at Shady Records. And Eminem, by the way, is like all of us in this room, because he knows geeks and nerds rule. So Eminem's a big comic book head. But I met this guy, Riggs Morales, at a music meeting, and he basically said, yo, I'm usually very professional, and I never geek out. And he used these words, but DMC, you was like my superhero, man, the way you looked, the way you sound, and this and that. And he just asked me one question, what was it like when you was a kid? And just like I told you, I was like, well, I went to Catholic school, and all I did was read and draw comic books. And when I said the word comic books, this executive, very professional executive, Riggs Morales, went, and he started to glow. And the heavens opened up and we sat there for 3 hours and we talked about comic books, and he saw that, yo, this guy DMC. My first love is comic books. Hip hop, I didn't really care about it, which is big because everybody else liked it and I could do it. So he said, D, you should do a comic book, and I had said no. And he said, why? And I said, because I didn't want to be another rapper just because I have a hit record thinking I could do everything. And he looked at me and said, that's very humble. But he said, don't do the comic book as DMC for celebrity. Do it as little boy, do it as the little boy Daryl, whose first love is comic books. So here I am living my dream because my comic book gets me in all the Comic Cons.
All right. Now, that being said, before we start this, we want to dig a little deeper into our panelists. And now, they don't know any questions, so I'm throwing everything at them blindly. All right, first question is this right here to find out more of who you are. You have a chance to star in any movie, okay? Which movie would it be? What character and why? That being said, I don't mean, I want to be in the Avengers and Captain America. No, this has to be any movie with your own character you make up, and why would you want to be that character? My favorite part of the job. You know it's a good thing when you throw the creators off. It's gonna be about comics and everything. No. Not at all at one time now.
Are you saying a movie that pre-exists that you would want to...
Yeah, okay, let's say I always wanted to be in The Godfather, and I wanted to be this character because of this character. Or I wanted to be in Star Trek, and I would want to be this character that does this, that, and the other.
Okay, I know it doesn't have to be comic book related, but it's gonna be.
Oh. No.
I do a little bit of acting on the side. I don't love acting, but I always felt like I would be more comfortable in a comedy. But knowing this character, okay, I would choose Catwoman, like Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. Like, I know I'm dressed as like casual Poison Ivy right now, but my soul is Catwoman. Like, I love her. Like, sex appeal, a little crazy. Like some bright red lipstick and you're dressed like a cat all day. Like, I think it's awesome. I think she has so much confidence, and with cosplay for me, dressing like these characters gives me the confidence those characters have. So I think being Catwoman in Batman would be awesome. That would be like my dream role. I would love it.
Nice. Next.
Ooh, I don't know if I could pick just one. Yeah, I mean, I'd want to be like an Eva pilot in the live-action version of Evangelion.
Oh, that would be sick.
On my own, just like a giant bag, just like. I'd also want to be in Doctor Who, even though it's not a movie. I mean,
Start the hashtag right now.
because I don't know. Pilot's awesome.
No, Doctor Who's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, now we're waiting for the two fellas to chime in.
Still thinking.
Man.
I don't know, I kind of if I could wield the axe in Vikings, that'd be great. Be a shield maiden.
Oh yeah, nice.
Wow. Probably when we get off the panel, I'm gonna be like, oh,
Yeah! They're gonna be sleeping, just jump up.
I just cannot think of something right now.
It'd also be kind of cool to get thrown out of my body and like Doctor Strange, just like astro travel.
ID?
Great.
Oh, got it.
Sorry. I stole all the movies. I stole all the movies.
Any movie.
It would probably be, and I could be the character in it. It would probably be Schindler's List. And I would be the entity that would come and stop the Nazis, stop all wars, and then the world would find out that I had the cure to all disease.
So, Dr. Manhattan / DMC. With shorts on.
Actually, you know what? Elysium.
Oh, yeah.
The film Elysium actually was very similar to a story that I had written in the 80s. So, to me, what I liked about it was that whole concept of, and when I see how reality is anyway, the corporations moving into interplanetary space and basically trying to separate themselves from the common man. You know, so I always kind of, you know, if I saw myself in there, I saw myself playing that Matt Damon type role, you know, the brother that goes up in there and, you know, kind of like, you know, intercedes with their plan, you know, not destroy.
Bring down the corporations.
Right, bring down the corporations.
Corporations do that shit
to
now.
bring the exactly. But you see what I'm saying? To bring that wealth back to Earth.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
All right. Now, with that being said, in comics today, this is, you know, between the panel and the crowd. What we're seeing now is a shift in momentum, where before it was not, I want to say taboo, but where they treaded lightly when it came to dealing with characters of color, of different races, and different genders. Case in point, DC made Batwoman gay, but they wouldn't let Batwoman get married. Marvel, what they call jumped the shark when they made Northstar gay, but then allowed Northstar to get married. We have Miss America, the Latina superhero, you know, who's also, you know, as far as sexuality is concerned. In comics, we're seeing a paradigm shift with that, where with certain companies, they're more open to it, while others are treating it with kid gloves. If you had the chance, what exactly would you want to do as far as anything in the race or gender lines? And as far as the audience is concerned, what do you see that's lacking in comics that you would love to see? If you have, just raise your hand and I'll call you out, and you know, that's how we'll do this. Something in comics that you are seeing or that you're not seeing, that you wish you would see represented more. Okay, my man right there.
What I've noticed with Marvel that's kind of bothering me, they are introducing a lot of minority characters, but it's always to a moniker that already exists. And I feel like with the power that they have, they could push original characters with original, you know, super abilities and everything. So I see that they're making some efforts that it does bother me that there's like feelings for other characters that already exist.
And if I can say something to that, I can totally understand that feeling. At the same time, we have to look at the scope of the Marvel Universe. A lot of these characters have been around since World War II. And so all of the characters that come out through the other avenues of those characters. They're always spin-offs, they're always integrated. And that seems to be their moniker, that's their MO, that's how they end up operating. They'll sort of test the waters to see how the character does, and then they'll create their own spin-off. Now, sometimes they'll create a character and people won't support it. And it'll, you know, they'll throw everything they have at it. They'll promotions, really great writers, brilliant artists, and then people won't buy it. And so it's really important that when you see something that you do like, to support that and let them know, because they do pay attention. They scour the internet and they're just like, okay, well, we're listening. And so now is a really, really unique time where you have the ear of a company. Now, a character having their own series and spin-off, that does take a lot of money and that does take a lot of resources. So if that is something that you want, push for people to support it. And then if not, that's okay. You know, we can't throw all of our money at everything, obviously. But I kind of felt the same way. I was just like, man, why don't they just come up with something new? And then I started to realize, oh, they're all braided together whenever there's a story being made. And you see it in the movies too. What happens in the Avengers gets taken over in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., gets expanded into the Inhumans series, and then it goes back into the Avengers movies. It's very, very integrated. So I totally understand that sentiment. It's just like, come on, you can do this. But that seems to be how they work.
It's just like the music business. They don't want to spend no money on a promotion. If I make Thor a black woman, instead of like, my thing is, I understand what you're saying. Why are you going to make a black woman Thor when you can just make a black woman who's a god from the place Thor comes from? You know, and,
exactly.
But they don't, because like you said, they're scared, they're looking, and they want it to work. It's like a hit record. Why do you think hip hop is so bullshit right now? Because they know, do what they're selling. But hip hop is about, oh, you made that, well, I'm gonna make this, and you come with diversity. Hip hop, the appeal of hip hop and diversity is you're supposed to be different. You know what I'm saying? Like on the thing about superheroes, people kind of overlook Bruce Lee as a superhero. Bruce Lee was a Chinese individual, but when you went to the movie theater, you didn't see Asian people. You saw these black kids from the hood and saw this Chinese motherfucker as a superhero. That was a perfect example. You introduced the person. It just has to be. It don't even have to be violent, deep. It just has to be interesting. You know, you damn near can make a nun-comic book or a nun-movie, but if the nun is badass at whatever it is she trying to break through the adversity and trying to change the religion, the way the Catholic Church works, that's just gonna get some pretty. Like I would relate to that because I went to Catholic school all my life. So there was this nun cursing out the Pope. So on one hand, Marvel and the creators who are already established, that's why the indies rock. Because they're introducing new, fresh ideas and stuff like that. But if Marvel should understand, Marvel and DC should understand they got enough respect of us to, the same way, how long Captain America been around? 1930, 40, right, because of the war. The same way you introduced Captain America in 1940, introduce the new motherfucking superhero in 2018. But they don't want to do that because it's a business now. And they don't want to spend the time to promote. So for them, it's easy, but it's also lazy. You know what I'm saying? Just let's make Daredevil a lady. No, make a new Daredevil lady here's how you introduce the lady that's better than Daredevil. Introduce her, whatever, her new costume, her new vibe, her new story, and let her beat Daredevil's ass. That will get us attention right there. In a comic book, that'll get some attention. Because I'll run to you, did you see that? And you'll call it, you know what I'm saying? But for Chancellor, she has it 100%. We gotta go with it, we gotta complain and protest, we need more of that. It's the same way that if we want great radio to change, hip-hop radio to change, all of us, parents, the old school dudes need to get with the young guys that's 18, 19 that hate the bullshit, and we should never listen to these radio stations. Marvel, DC, if you don't introduce some new character, we ain't buying your books no more. But us as a community, we don't realize that we have that power. We think our power is only in writing letters and doing that. The power is if we just shut it down, it'll change them. But it's just like the music business.
And also what people, I'm sorry. It's also what people are buying too. Like people are buying Batman and Superman and they're buying those books and I think there's absolutely room for both. Like if you love Batman, buy Batman. But if you want to see something new, support something new.
No, that's fine. Yeah, and I like to piggyback on what Dee said about the whole idea of independence, because that's my thing. You know, since I was a kid, my thing was I'm never gonna work for anybody. I didn't think I would ever work for anybody. I said I want to have my own thing. I want to build my own thing. All the things that people say can't be done, I said I'm gonna be the one to do it. You see what I'm saying?
So then they're gonna want you to come work for them.
What's that? I said then they're gonna want you to come work. Well, yeah, exactly. That's how it works. But see, when you understand that, let's look at like all the characters that we grew up with. These characters, they've always been in existence in our lifetime, but they haven't always been in existence. So for us, it seems like they've always been here. No, they've only been here since you've been here. So if we create a character today, or you create a character today, it's always been there for the 8-year-old kid.
Yeah.
For the 8-year-old kid. Oh, I always knew it. I had so many people that come up to me and say, I grew up on your book. They're like 30 years old now. So to me, I'm like, well, what's that say? You know, what's it say to me? But I'm like, well, see, I'm 52 now. So to me, it's like, I feel accomplished because these people come up to me and say, that was the first comic book I ever got. My mom gave me this book, and they have an allegiance to it the way that I would have had an allegiance to Captain America and Hulk and Iron Man when I was coming up, because that's what existed. So when we change our mind state and understand the reality of this dimension that we live in, that Marvel and DC, they're great organizations, but we have to understand that it's not a God status, that we can't create something that stands just as powerful next to them, but it has to start somewhere. They have, what, a 75-year head start on most people. So my book's been around for 26 years, but it wasn't 26 years of constant marketing and promotion where it was everywhere. I have to keep grinding. I have to be here today. I have to be somewhere else today. We all have to keep continuing what we're doing, because for the next generation, they always knew your book. They always knew my book. They've always seen her book. So we have to move beyond what we see today and understand the efforts that we put in now affect change for our grandchildren. That's pretty
Nice. What you got to say, my man? Oh yeah, now give that an applause, man. Okay, let's go from, Afua, Dwali, and D.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, the question that he asked was, yeah.
I was asking them, in each one of their own genres, in their own creativity, what message are they trying to leave on y'all, the impression? Other than what they already know, but what are they trying to project to you? So that way you can take it back with them.
For those in the back who couldn't hear, his question was, as far as these creators up here, what are they trying to say, or the message they're trying to convey to their audience, and what are they doing to convey that message, and for them to receive the message as far as what they're trying to say.
Okay. I feel like when I was growing up, I read comics, and it reminded me of my own power. And I think that's something that I want everyone to feel. There can be circumstances that will make us think that we don't deserve to be happy, we don't deserve love, that we're incapable of changing our circumstances, or because of where we come from, the hand that we were dealt, that there's only a certain outcome for our lives. It doesn't matter where we're from. We all have our struggles. We all have our demons that we have to confront. In the work that I do, I want people to know that they can be the authors of their life. I worked on a series called Genius for Top Cow. And it was about a 17-year-old tactical genius who was born in South Central. I wasn't the writer of it, but I felt like I could really identify with the character.
I guess she identifies. She's co-signing, that's right.
I know you're
Nice pictures, nice pictures.
But yeah, she was sort of dealt a really hard hand. Her parents were killed, she ended up in the foster care system, and the trajectory was pretty much a life of misery. But she started to see the patterns. She started to recognize that there was a system in place for everyone, that everyone was a human resource to be used and extracted by people who didn't deserve to have that position. And so she started reminding the people who were fighting each other the gangs, the kids on the street who, they didn't really have any parents, and so they just tried to find whatever safety they could in the realm that they lived in. She started showing them that they were a part of the cyclical destruction, that it wasn't just the police arresting them, that they were creating the conditions for their own misery. And so she, like a chessboard, started rearranging them, changing their minds and saying, hey, you know, you're out here killing each other. Your neighbor is not the enemy. The person who lives up the block is not your enemy. And then even by the end of the book, she realized that the cops themselves were not the enemy, that everyone was this pawn being played against each other for someone else's gain. And so I kind of feel like that's sort of a metaphor for the society that we live in. We're pitted against each other, where we take on these struggles and these stories, and we project hate and these other things onto other people, making enemies out of friends and friends out of enemies. And one thing I really, really want to push in my books is critical thinking. You know, knowing as much as you can about a subject, removing all of the contradictions, and then repeating what you know, questioning what you know. Those kinds of things will revitalize us as a society, because things are crazy. They really are, but they always have been. And it's not going to take big groups to change things. It's small groups who say, hey, how can we make our lives better? We have to remember our own power. Someone else is not going to do it. We have to be our own superheroes. So that's what I want to put in my work, and that's the end of my little soapbox.
My work, I feel like, is an extension of my life. My brother's, actually, it was a family-owned and operated business. And when I think of not only what I wanted to put into my work, what I've seen actually happen with my work. You know, I had young men come up to me saying they got out of gangs because of my book. I had people tell me that they learned to read from my book. They said our book brought their family together. I'm like, I'll bring your family together. You know, I don't even know how, but the fact that it did, I said, bet, you know, mission accomplished. You know, because it's family entertainment. And when I think about it, I said, I want something that the whole family can sit down and read. So maybe, you know, in some people's homes, you have, hey, that's what such and such reads. Mom reads this, such and such reads this. Hey, but everybody can read Brother Man. You see what I'm saying? Like, that was kind of like the thought process. And when I think of, you know, for me throughout the 80s, you know, I was a custom airbrush artist. You know, growing up in Philly, I had a shop in North Philly. I used to work at the mall, you know, and this was during the time when that wasn't really big, you know, so I was really pioneering it in my town. And I remember, like, when I was like 21, 22, in DMC we were talking about how we the same age, so we came up during that same period. So a lot of the things I talk about, what he talks about, I'm like, that's what we were going through. And I just remember, like, because I like art, I like drawing. And back then, that whole nerd thing, it wasn't the thing. It wasn't the thing, especially for a black man growing up in Philly and you like comic books and science fiction. Get out of here, man, that's corny. And it's like, no, that's not corny, man. Like Other Worlds, the fantastic, you know, but when you're young and you're coming up in that environment, it's almost like you feel like you gotta hide it. So when I had my shops in North Philly, and I just remember how, and I'm just gonna kind of put this out here as a point. Say like a lot of brothers coming into like drug selling and whatnot. My thing is, I'm not questioning what you do. I'm just making T-shirts and things like that. And how I would reject the contraband and things like that they want to put on the shirt, because I was about family. I said I want to promote and project family. And dude, you're part of family. I try to get them to see the family essence of who they are. And actually I started seeing how it worked. Where some dudes coming in, it's almost like I had to kind of get them to see themselves through the artwork. And it actually worked, where these guys actually became fans and supporters of this basically a hole-in-the-wall business that we're running. And it was at that point, 20 on 22, that I realized I wasn't just a guy with a pencil. Like, I shift paradigms. I shift paradigms with what I draw. You know what I mean? It changes the way these dudes think. You know, so then at that point, I never really considered myself an artist, but a visual revolutionary. So Brother Man, the comic book, was just an extension of what I was learning throughout the 80s when we came out in the 90s. So it was like, I wanted to put something out there, speaking primarily to black kids like me, who I know, I understand, like, who's a champion for us? Who's representing for us? I just remember growing up as a kid, having my comic books and stuff, and I was like, where am I in all of this? I remember asking my dad, how can I have comics for us black kids? And my dad said, you gotta be the one to do it. He said, you'd be old and gray waiting for somebody to give you something. And that's when my journey began. It began when I was a little kid. You see what I'm saying? So for those who probably can't process the significance of that and why creating the world of Brother Man has its own subway system, it has its own currency, it has its own buildings and laws, it's because there is no Africa America. It is not a place, but it is a culture. It is a group of people. But you gotta understand how it feels to feel like, man, we don't even have our own place. I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna create it in mythology and create this world that we can exist in, and that changes people. People see that, and it changes their life because they see themselves in mythology, and that's the significance of mythology and the impact it can do to change people's lives, which is why, like it said earlier, the women and those who've been outcasted from mythology, why it's important, because it changes our perspective and our global scope of where we belong.
All right, D.
Y'all folks are everything that is me. But to just put it in perspective, what they both said is what all of us is about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like, when Greg said, yo, you want to do this comic book? I said, no, I don't want to be the rapper in the midst of comic books and have the geeks and nerds mad at me. So then he says, you can do it. And I still didn't want to do it. Then he said this to me, it was powerful. He said, yo, D, you could do everything that you've done with your music in this form and more. And then it hit me. What I'm trying to do with what I do, with the comic, with art, with an interview, with a visit to a school, is to inspire, motivate, and change things. And the example that was given to me was through my music, like what you said. When I did the rhyme, I'm DMC, in the place to be. I go to St. John's University, and since kindergarten I acquired the knowledge. After 12th grade I went straight to college. Now I said it, and those words are very visual. So all the little hoodlums in the neighborhood came up to me and was like, because I wasn't famous yet. Yo, Daryl, you go to fucking St. John's University, man? You got a gold team, you got kangaroos, you got gazelles and this and that. Like, then they saw it. And I was like, yeah, man. And I went to Cal, straight A student. So some of those dudes was like, F that, went back to the corner, went to drugs. But some of them dudes put the gun down, do the drugs away, this and that. And one dude came up to me, when I said that, he said he thought he had it all. He said, I got my Adidas, I got my Adidas suits, I was selling drugs, I got my Mercedes Benz, I got my gold chains, I got my Mercedes emblem on my fingers and this and that, I got my gazelles. And then he said, here comes DMC rapping about school being cool. Because at the time, everything was a message record. The ghetto broken, there's message 1, message 2, life in the ghetto going, it was so fucking depressing. So when I got into hip hop, Brendan noticed, when I got into hip hop, I said even in the dirt poor ghetto, there's good stuff. So, you know, if you listen to my rhymes was always about family. Son of Byford, brother of Al, banners, it's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. When we did Suck Up Season, we went to every major label in New York City. We got turned down. We ended up on a little independent label called Profile Records, because check this out. We went to every major label. Curtis Blow was on the major label, this and that. You know, rap was buzzing, Africa Bambaataa was killing with Planet Rock and Arthur Bacon. They said, there's no way. Because they had this perception about rap was black ghetto music. Let's be real. It's where it started in the Bronx. They said they didn't want to sign Run DMC because there's no way anybody wants to hear a guy rhyming about chicken and collard greens in St. John's University. But when the world heard that, And dudes came up to me and said, yo, DMC, just because you said it, this is powerful. He said, just because you said it, I thought I had it all. I had the gear, I had the cars, I had the gold chain, but he said, I didn't have a diploma. So he said he went and got a GED just so he could still be out there on the street and knowing he got a diploma in the back. That's crazy, because now he knew I was lacking something. But then he says this, with that GED, I was able to take courses on the weekend at the community college, and when I walked in them doors, I saw a whole world of possibility that I didn't know exists. What I try to do with my comic book is this. When I was a little kid growing up in Hollis, Queens, New York, I was a kid that had to be in the house when the street light came on. I wasn't out in the street. I couldn't understand why Warren, Glenn, and Gregory and Nate was outside till fucking midnight, and they're fucking 9, 10, and 11 years old. But that's important. But so when I'm in the house, I gotta find something to do. So my imagination was these comic books. And after I read the comic book 5, 6 times, it was, you know, this is how I learned to draw. Ain't nothing else to do but try to draw this motherfucker. So I learned to draw. But comic books taught me as a young Catholic school kid who wore glasses. And before I said my rhyme that made glasses cool, my whole life was, hey, 4 Eyes, come in. Hit me upside the head. Did you see that? It was 4 Eyes, it was spectacles. Glasses were just joke until hip-hop empowered me to say, why you wear those glasses? So I can see. It changed everything. I ain't want them to be cool, I'm wearing these motherfuckers so I can see. If I was real, that would make sense. But this is where all this came from. Marvel comic books, as opposed to putting me in a universe, like you said, where you see yourself empowered and this and that, it was also educational to me. At that time in the 70s, the educators were going, don't let the kids read comic books. They should read their textbooks and their notebooks. They overlooked the fact that I was reading every day made me a good student. But it went deeper than that. In history class, I learned about World War II, but I go home and read Captain America, it takes me there. Yeah. I learned about the sun, the moon, the stars, and the rings around Jupiter, but the Silver Surfer takes me there. So that's why I was an excellent student. You know what I'm saying? They overlooked the fact that these comics was empowering me and making me a reader. But then it went deeper than that. Marvel comic books was attractive to me because look, I was a little kid who had to be in the house when the street lights was coming on. So I didn't go nowhere in New York City. DC was cool, but Gotham Metropolis was fictional. Stan Lee had the motherfucking superheroes running around New York City, so it taught me about a real place. But I'm in with this. It also did something that made me so dominant in hip hop. It taught me, and now I'm a good student. So y'all know what an adjective is, right? You know what an adjective is. Marvel comic books teachers didn't teach me this. Nobody taught, no priest. I went to Gavin and no nun. Marvel comic books taught me. This set me up for hip hop too. You define yourself with an adjective and you tell the world who you are, such as the amazing, the incredible, the invincible. So that was real for me. So what I did was, when hip hop came and gave me, I was only doing hip hop because everybody was doing it, but comic books was my first love. But then when I realized, oh, you can tell stories over music about who you are. So Daryl McDaniels, my old man and Catholic school kid, when I had to change in to do the rap thing, the DMC, D from Daryl MC McDaniels doesn't mean Daryl McDaniels no more. Because now I transform into DMC, devastating my controller. But in my real life, I'm this nerdy, geeky kid, but in my real life, I said, I'm the king of rock. Now when I walk the earth, people call me king. When I walk, I'm the microphone master. When I walk in a room, they say the microphone master here. I'm telling you, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Diddy, when I walk in the room, they go, the king is here. And they are who they are. So that's what I'm trying to do. Run DMC was only successful because when we came out with our records and our videos, y'all didn't see celebrity, y'all saw yourselves. I want you to see yourself in what I do.
Charlie, and then we'll get to that question.
All right, so for cosplay, we are taking characters who are already created for the most part, and we are dressing like them. And a lot of us try to be very specific and look very much like the characters, but there are, when we look at what characters are already made, a majority of them are white males. And then we look at the females, a majority of them are white. And even when we look at characters of color, I don't know how many look exactly like me. Like, the black characters have to be black and the white characters have to be white. There's not very many who are like a middle gray area that I kind of sit in. But I try to use my craft and meld my heritage with the comic book and change the narrative. People expect you to look like these fictional characters, and that's not what the world looks like. And within the 3 years I've been cosplaying, it's been getting better, but cosplayers of color do not get seen. You do not get pictures taken. You do not get noticed, and nobody's saying, hey, you're this person. They are blind to you. And it's been getting better now with things like hashtag Black Cosplayers Matter and Black Cosplayers Rock, and Afropunk kind of made that a huge thing. But it is difficult to try and push your heritage and the comic book at the same time. But I tried to creatively do that so that it's accepted, but so that it's also kind of a punch in the face to people, so that it's seen. And I think the message that I want to give is that you can be those characters. My favorite comic book character of all time is Spider-Man. And when I read Spider-Man, I wasn't seeing race or seeing anything about Spider-Man. I wasn't like, oh, Peter Parker doesn't look like me and is a guy and all this. I saw Red Suit and I thought it was awesome, and he was the underdog and I could relate to that. He was like a big nerd and like kind of funny, and I was like, it's me. So I try to cosplay like every Spider-Verse character I can think of because I love it. And I try to push that for people. And if I always cosplayed black female characters, how many characters would I really have? I wouldn't be at almost 60 right now, I'd be at like 3. And I can't constantly cosplay Storm. That's not my thing, like I have. But that's because I love her and she's fierce, but that can't be my go-to. I can't always do that. So now I've gotten to a point where people say, oh my gosh, you're my favorite Spider-Gwen. Like, how, it feels so strange to me, people coming to me and saying, I'm a good Gwen Stacy. Like, that's amazing to me. That's changing the narrative. I had a woman and her daughter run up to me and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're cosplaying Wonder Woman, because seeing a black woman as Wonder Woman and just showing to the world, look what I can do. Like, I am this huge female character in DC Comics, and I'm a black woman, and this is the norm, this is fine. And so I try to create an environment where that's safe and where people feel safe cosplaying what they want to cosplay and loving what they want to love, and where people can get used to minorities and women doing these things and being who they want to be. We want to see more diversity in comic books. I want to see it, literally see it in the mirror, see it like on the streets, see it on the internet. And for me, that's where it kind of starts. That's where the ideas start. That's where the inspiration comes from. That's where we can kind of change the narrative.
And even on my part, to answer your question, Morgan Spurlocker, the documentary guy, did a documentary about Comic-Con. It's called A Fan's Hope Comic-Con. And I was featured in the documentary. They interviewed me at the end. And Morgan asked me a question. He was like, why do you cosplay? And I had on my Deadpool suit. It wasn't the spandex one. It was made out of the same latex that the Batman suits are made of. It was a full costume. And I told him, I said, the reason why I cosplay is if a 6'2" black man from Newark, New Jersey can throw on spandex and have fun, then anybody can. You know, I mean, I've been blessed. My very first cosplay was Isaiah Bradley. For those who know your history, he was the very first Captain America. And Marvel tweaked history, you know, with the Tuskegee Airmen, where they did experiments on him. They gave him the serum first because they didn't want to give it to Steve Rogers, a white man, and it hurt him. So the end result was he was not only bulletproof, but he was stronger and faster than Steve Rogers. Downside was it left him with the mental capacity of a 5-year-old. That was my very first, because it spoke to me. I wound up being featured in the LA Times and a bunch of newspapers. Fast forward a couple of years later, I did Sam Wilson, Captain America. And I'm the cover model of Sam Wilson, Captain America #1, the cosplay variant cover. And my purpose when I was cosplaying, I never wanted to try to be cos famous. I just like to have fun. With me, when I cosplay, I get that same feeling. Remember when you were a kid and, you know, October 28th, yeah, whatever. 29th, yeah, 30th, one more day. And that one day on Halloween, you can be whoever you wanted and just had fun. That's what I always wanted to convey to people. That was my message always. If you have to look in the mirror and scrutinize yourself, you're doing it wrong. Just have fun, and whatever you're doing, have fun. And also, there's a company, a book right beside Dee's booth called Joker's Revenge. They're a black indie company, and they do what's really ultra rare, and it's black sci-fi, but it's superhero sci-fi, where they're bikers and there's time travel in it as well. And they have Egyptian themes and everything else. Here's a poster of some of their stuff. So they're right by Dee's booth, and you might want to go by and, you know, check them out and everything else. But that being said, we had a question over here. What was your question? Oh no, we're not going to have it. Oh yeah, most definitely. Anybody want to take that question?
I think you can be whoever you want to be. You know what I mean? It's not really up to you if they do it. And I think that goes back to what we're really, the gist of what we're saying here. If they decide to do it, that's cool. If you see what they have, I mean, if they produce what you want to see, that's cool. If they don't produce what you want to see, they're dealing with so many titles that may not be their, you know, their priority. But think about it like this too. Not only is it something that you may want to see, it's also a wide open market that you can capitalize on. So sometimes you don't always have to like, can they give me this? Can they give me that? Then they give you this and they continue to make money off of giving you that, as opposed to you could have made it and then you make all the money.
Exactly.
So it's beyond comic books. I was telling people it's not really about comics, it's about commerce and building something, you know, because then you're building an intellectual property. Intellectual property lasts beyond you. Your children inherit that and their children.
Yeah, but even to answer your question, I speak about them a lot, only because I love the direction they're taking. Valiant Comics. A lot of us, when we read comics, we read them because in a lot of books we see ourselves. Something speaks to us. Valiant Comics has a superhero called Faith. Faith is an overweight female superhero, right? But she owns it. Bloodshot is a hero with no past, no present, but he owns it. You have a lot of companies out here that, will put that out there. It's just a matter of going to find it. And a lot of times, if you don't see it, that's when you go and create it. Quick history lesson. This marble you see right now wasn't always the marble that was. They sat in a small apartment building, cramped, drawing stuff, throwing together ideas, putting together a book in a matter of days and everything else. With DMC's book, it wasn't like he's like, okay, I'm tired of rapping. Monday, I'm tired of rapping. And then Wednesday, here's a comic book. In the back of the mind, that was always there until it came into fruition. Even with Brother Man, even with everything that Afua does, even with Charlie with her cosplay. Every creation starts with conception. So if you don't see it, make it happen. And the only person that can't make it happen is you. You're the only thing that's standing in your obstacle if you don't see it. And if you want to make it happen.
And I just want to add too, once fat superheroes get popular, all Marvel and DC will be right on it. And what I mean by that is, when you saw Biggie, you didn't see a fat rapper, you saw a dope-ass rapper. When you look at Eminem, he's white, but he's a dope-ass rapper. Eminem is so deaf, they forgot about the three dudes that was just as deaf as Eminem that set it up so Eminem could exist in the black hip-hop world, the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys wasn't white rappers talking about Adidas and gold chains and all angry. They were white rappers who rapped about what they experienced. And when we first, and now imagine the Beastie Boys introduction. We did the Raising Hell tour. And it's just like you said, this applies to commerce. We did the Raising Hell tour. Beasties was opening, Houdini went on second, LL went on third, and Run DMC was closing. And here these white boys, Raz Monkey. This is before
jumping around the stage.
Right, this is before they found Buddhism. So the first couple of shows, we was even leery because we would say have a good show and we would stay in the dressing room thinking we're gonna hear boos. But every show we heard, and we would go out to the side of the stage and look. I'm talking about this is in the deep black South. There's not a white person in the house, and the Beasties is up there doing the Tom McGill here. Those black people respected them. Real recognized real. They say these white boys ain't trying to be like us. They was doing the rap thing, but it was in who they were. And it goes back further than the Beasties. In 1985, there was this group called the Fat Boys. And I seen the Fat Boys tear down night after night 40,000 seaters. Fat boys. The lights would go out and they would come out there and they would rock the house. There was some nights, and I'm a humble guy, there was some nights they fucking took the show from Run DMC. So people and they rapped about food, but nobody said they're a joke because they were good at rapping about food. So it's just like he said, you gotta fill that void, you know what I'm saying? And it's possible. And I was gonna say Valiant, I know that there's this fat white girl named Faithful Flies. So, yes, we do want more of who we look, you want the one-legged guy on a crutch that's a superhero because it's possible. But if it's not existing, you gotta do it.
You had a question, man?
This is going back to what you said earlier. What is it about this world, the comic book world, superheroes, sci-fi, that kind of makes it corny for our community? Like, I've dealt with that for a while, like being what I'm into, and I wanted you guys to everybody on the panel.
To me, I think that whole idea of something being corny, and I think that comes out of conditioning, number one.
Yeah.
Because when we look at, that's why I say mythology is important, because we grow up being consumed with all of this mythology. Where are we in this mythology? We're playing ball, we're doing, just think of the things that you would think a black man should do. Just in your mind, everybody in their mind, real quick, what do you think a black man should do? Are you gonna think of that black man as being a scientist? Are you gonna think of that black man as being that hero? Are you gonna think of him as being, you see what I'm saying? So then what happens is, regardless if that is somebody's reality or not, that becomes the symbol that is conditioned in everybody's mind. So if you step out of that and say, well, look, because when I grew up, sports wasn't my thing. I liked to draw. You know what I mean? I liked to draw. I liked you know, when Star Wars came out, you know, I was just like, yo, man, this is just crazy. You know what I mean? Like, yo, this is like, wait, he said a long time ago in a galaxy, wait, it's the future. You know, it's spaceship, it's supposed to be the future.
Far away, what the hell?
Yeah, he's like messing, you know, George Lucas like messing up my mind, you know? So I thought, I'm thinking everybody think it's cool. But then you got some dudes, you like, yo, man, you still into that space stuff? Man, that's corny. It's like, why is that corny, man? That's like, you know, it's like a whole nother way of thinking that goes beyond sci-fi. What it does, it turns your mind upside down. It's like, wow, he did that a long time ago, but it looks futuristic. I'm gonna do something like this. And really, when we talk about hip-hop, it was the same thing, because hip-hop goes against the grain of what people say you're supposed to do, and you be the one to step outside of what everybody else is doing. For example, the Brass Monkey scenario. We get caught up in this whole thing of everybody following what everybody does, and the person that steps,
that's what you gotta do.
Right. So the person that steps out of it, they're corny. Right. So you have to be ready to say, you know what, I'll take the corny label, but you keep flexing on it to the point where, oh snap, now everybody's running behind what you're doing. But by the time they're running behind what you're doing, you're on to the next thing. But like I said, I think initially it just comes through our conditioning, which is why it's important what we're doing, because we're reconditioning the mind. When we first came out, me and my brothers doing this, I hardly saw any brothers at I'll do a comic convention, and I felt like we're the only one there. It was a totally different vibe. You see what I'm saying? But it's different now. Times have changed. And as they change, the perception of us changes. So that's why I said it's important. I think it's even deeper than that.
You gonna say something, D?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, because it's like he said, it's the conditioning, it's the perception. Because think about it like this: everything that is considered cool has to be negative, and that wasn't like that with hip hop in the beginning. But to sum it up, I said this when I was on I did the BET show about gay rappers and all of that. Across the board, America, this country here, celebrates the use of negativity, but it's a false sense of power. Because all of the kids calling us geeks and nerds corny when they rob, steal, cheat, sell drugs, kill each other for it, they want all the shit we create. All the shit that's in the books. We create the technology, we create the pop culture, we create the crows. They want all of that. They don't realize that without us, they ain't got nothing to live for. And to show you a big example, it's definitely about conditioning perception. I always tell people, it's a shame that Biggie Smalls died the way he did. Biggie, Pac, Jay. But think about all the millions of youth who die every day that ain't famous. And what I mean by that, I gotta tell these young kids, Biggie, his first record, y'all know his first record, it was all a dream. God, tell kids, go listen to that record. His idols wasn't Al Pacino in a Scarface movie. His idols wasn't John Gotti. His idol wasn't Manuel Noriega, the drug lord. Go listen to Biggie's first record. This fat black kid living in that death, destruction, and despair. You know who his idols was? Rap Attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Would Heavy D ever heard of Fly? Would Heavy D ever heard of Fly? Nah. Biggie, he got guns on him and he's looking at safe, legal, smooth Heavy D. Biggie saw that as power. Tupac is not a god because of what he went through negatively. I tell kids, Tupac is a hip hop god in the hip hop world for two reasons. Dear Mama and Brenda Had a Baby. That motherfucker wrote that song? Think about that. And that was the most powerful things that he did. When he went to jail and all the stuff that they talk about, that wasn't the power. He was good at making them rhymes. But the physical, emotional, spiritual, the manifestation, everything that is good, all of us geeks and nerds in this room, I don't care if you're a dude and you like the Powerpuff Girls. The Powerpuff Girls is real.
I love the Powerpuff Girls.
Right. I do too. What I'm trying to say is, they don't see the reality and the power in it. Whatever it is that you like, Star Wars, Spider-Man, this and that, to the people outside, I always tell a little kid that feels bad about his comic books and
loving science fiction, when they tease you and say, you into that corny fairy tale make-believe stuff, I said, you stand up, the teacher might hate you. I tell kids to do this, you might stand up on your desk in the middle of your class and beat your chest and say, you goddamn right I'm into that make-believe thing. Why? Because I discovered that it's really a power. Look at the words, make-believe. Make believe, you make the world believe it. They can't see it. You gotta be that. You gotta be that belief. But to answer the question is, I'm looking at America now. I'm looking at America now. You gotta be disrespectful, especially if you're ignorant, stupid, disrespect women, and then we're gonna think you're cool. But the person talking, not using profanity, talking about you don't have one rapper that looks like Lil Wayne telling them to go to school. Think about that. But Scarface, he didn't say, celebrate me because my mind is playing tricks on me and I'm selling drugs. He said, at night I can't sleep. I toss and turn. I'm in church, Lord, show me a better way. Real gangsters don't want to be real gangsters. So, Scarface's power, Melly Mel's power, our power, in hip hop, is about 3 real gangsters. There's about 3. But here's the thing about it. Those 3 real gangsters don't make records telling y'all to be gangsters. In hip-hop, there's 3 real gangsters. All of their raps is about not doing what I do, young man. You can be something better, just like you said. We had the shirt kings and queens when we was coming up with the things that like that. They were like that too. But it took us rappers to tell the drug dealers. When I was younger, Fat Cat and Supreme, and we knew they were drug dealers, but nobody walked around in the neighborhood, yeah, he's a drug dealer as well. But they didn't walk around with it like a bat on their chest. They didn't talk about it. Now, you got these guys on their records. I'm up in the kitchen cooking it up and selling it on the corners and this and that. And Americans say, yes, oh my God, he's rapping. No. Negativity is a force, it's a power. The real power is in all the safe, beautiful, universal, good, corny, so-called corny, clean, safe, educational, fun coloring books and lollipops and ice cream. That's why when I came in, I never rapped about stuff that I didn't do. And I didn't just become a rapper, I became one of the greatest rappers of all time. Listen, when rap does end, in the next millennium, there's gonna be one of the corniest records ever, perceived corny records, Christmas in Hollis. That record will play. The people told me it used to just be Ben Crosby and Nat King Cole. Ben Crosby, I'm dreaming of a night, Christmas, and Nat King Cole, chestnuts roasting on an open. Motherfuckers said, no, don't play that. Play Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. And think about
watch the video on YouTube. Please watch the video.
Yeah. So all of us in here know it ain't corny. But it's like he said, it's conditioning and perception. But I wanted to show y'all, once you don't be ashamed to do that, that gangbanger or that bully in your class might change and say, yo, and the example is Biggie. And it's a shame, and it's all about perception and presentation too. Because I always tell kids this, and this is how powerful the arts are. I got a saying, the arts succeeds where politics and religion fails. Music, sculpture, reading, comic books, spoken words. And this is how powerful it is. Biggie got successful after it was all a dream. His dream came true. But what did he do on the very next album? On his album cover, what did he take a picture next to? What happened to his ass? Tupac, brilliant actor, revolution, actor, the poet, this and that. What did he say on all his records? I'm a dime, I'll go out in a hell of bullets. What happened to him? Easy E, I'm trying to show you the power of the arts, not the Bible. You religious people don't take it nowhere, but it's not the Bible and it's not the psychology books. It's the creativity that exists. You are that thing. Easy E. F this, sucks up this, what happened to him? What did I say? I'm the king of rock. There is none higher. What does none higher mean? Somebody higher. Forever. And I tell the kids that, they try to show me now, you don't have lyrics like Jay-Z and this. I got one rhyme that shuts the whole game down. But I won't stop rocking. I don't have a record deal now. Run DMC got dropped off the label. But what did I end my rhyme with? I won't stop rocking till I retire. So, live with it, y'all. I'm 52. I'm gonna be rhyming until I'm 100.
You wanna say something?
Just sort of adding to what everyone was saying, something that I say quite often is a phrase, psychological permission. There seems to be this conformity, we refer to as conditioning, that the power that, the guys who came into your shop who were looking for t-shirts to wear on their chest, or those who realized that the Mercedes emblems on their fingers didn't actually mean they owned a Mercedes. The perception of power being rested in these inanimate objects, in the sort of, what do you call it? Going to jail being a badge of honor. Like, that's where they found power, because the archetypes that they looked towards, the mythology that they paid tribute to, their muses were sick. And so therefore they took on a sick muse and they died with it, or they perpetuated, a mantra that continued this cyclical destruction. And that people were just like, oh, well, you didn't go to jail? Like, remember when it was just like, all right, the Latin Kings got out of jail, now everybody's sagging their pants. It's like, that's because they took their belts from you. And then people kept repeating that over and over again. And then
we took the laces out of our sneakers, and they said, that's from jail because they take the laces out of the sneakers so the kids don't pull their shoes out.
Right? It's like, why would you want to repeat these things? It's like, oh, because they're tough. Well, maybe we need to find strength in other things and celebrate those. That's what I think is so powerful about hip hop in its most profound, in its strongest. Like, because when I was, I was reading comics, I was, watching anime, but one place where I saw a universal unity was in hip hop. There was like a Vietnamese Canadian breakdancer who would rhyme in French. You know what I mean? There were, in
other countries, they don't like what's on our radios. You cannot go in and say like they will kick you out of Germany.
Right? Yeah. Graffiti is so big in Germany.
Real quick, if you want a hip hop experience, listen to a French rapper. The reason why I say that is this. Old school hip hop, there was a formula. You had music, you had vibe, you had a message. You don't have to know a word of French. Okay, guarantee, I forget his name. He did the Precinct 13 soundtrack. He's a French rapper. There's a parkour movie called Precinct 13. If you listen to that movie, there's a French rapper. I can't remember his name right now. But he is in such sync, and hip hop overseas, they're in such sync with the lyrics, the music, and everything else. You can't help, you're like, I don't know what the hell he's saying, but this sounds good, this feels good. Yeah, you can feel it, it's emotion. And to piggyback on his question and her question earlier about content and the black community, it's all about going out, finding, creating, making your own.
That's right.
Okay, I'll give you an example. There's a podcast called Blerdlines. So it's a black podcast.
I did them yesterday, they're incredible.
They're here right now. Stand up real quick, Blerdlines people. And what happened in their podcast where, well, I hear this and I hear that and I hear that and I like this from here and that from there, but I have to go here and here to hear what I like. And it's nothing that really speaks to me, so they went out and they created their own. They found their own. Just like with every single person up here, they saw something that was not lacking, but a void, and they filled that void. And because they jumped out on, there's one thing in jumping out on faith and jumping out on belief. And everybody on this stage jumped out, on belief, because they believe they can do it. They believe they can make it. It may have been a journey of 1,000 miles or 100 miles or 1,000,000 miles. But it's a lot of times it's not in, when you get there, it's the journey, that helps you grow and helps you be the person that you are and everything else. Does anybody else have a question? Okay.
So what currently in comics or movies do you think is going in the right direction concerning superheroes, that you just like, yeah, I like what they're doing?
Okay, with me, Netflix. The reason why I say that is studios have controls. Netflix doesn't, and all of us had a big question mark when they were talking about Luke Cage and everything else, but Luke Cage showed that wasn't the case. And the thing, we talked about it before, the thing that really caught me on Luke Cage was that one scene when dude had that gun to his head and he called him the N-word. And Luke turned around and gave him that speech and everything else. When you have a studio that can represent like that, you know they're on the right track. So for me, it's Netflix.
Yeah, definitely. Luke Cage was unapologetic with how diverse and how black it was, and it brought so much culture in the music, the cast, and just the way they did the whole show. Like I spent all day yesterday, 3 a.m. until like 6 p.m. watching Iron Fist. But I have to say, all of the next Netflix series are amazing. Like Jessica Jones, I've heard so many mixed reviews about it, but I was in love with Jessica Jones. So many women who are empowered by that, and they touched on things like rape culture and things that people are afraid to like talk about, and they were real with it, and they shoved it in your face like, look, this is how it is, this is how it affects people. And characters like Luke Cage in that show, and it just made so many women feel empowered. Like a villain that powerful, like crazy powerful Purple Man, and for a woman to defeat him, a woman who has been weakened by him in the past, and to show women to fight against abuse and things like that. And just Netflix has been killing it for me. Like all of these things have really like touched me, like have been a really deep, meaningful place for me, and I would rewatch all those shows like over and over again.
Real quick, we have 5 minutes left, and I'm gonna take his question, and then we're gonna do some quick table plugs. DMC can be found at Artist Alley, booth 404 and 406. Afua, where's your table?
I'm at 407 in the same row.
Yeah, she's our next door neighbor. We come by and borrow a cup of sugar or a soda or some water or something.
And I'll borrow a shopping.
Brother Man Comics is at table Ep.7. It's we're way in the back near the bathroom, so
yeah, please, if there is any indie book you pick up today, or books, DMC and Brother Man. I say DMC because you know DMC, but Brother Man, you have to read Brother Man. It's the kind of book you don't have to read one word, just the art itself speaks for itself. Okay, you had a question, my man?
You had to pick a Blood DMC song to go with the Marvel character. With his theme song, what song would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, I got a good one for that when you ask yours.
Well, it's funny that you asked that because the character it's crazy that you asked that. Just recently, about 2 months ago, I recorded a song for my new record with Chuck D, a Public Enemy. And the record is about empowering yourself, not being afraid, fighting the power, going against adversity. The chorus is Chuck D's voice on his record from Rebel Without a Pause, where he goes, coming like a rhino. So, to answer your question, it would be the Rhino, because I just did a song with Chuck D. The backing band is a punk metal band called Slaves on Dope out of Montreal. And one of my lyrics is, you can search all you want to, but you will never find no weakness or softness. I'm coming like a rhino. Me and Chuck D, we're in the hard rhyme zone. Add SOD, and you will get your mind blown. So it's the Rhino.
Okay, so To wrap up this panel, what have we learned today? We have learned that Charlie is a cosplayer with a cause. We have learned that Brother D with Brother Man is a whole self-contained world that you must read. We have learned that Afua is a woman of many talents. You can have her come to your convention and she can have the band play. She can even do the valet parking. And she can even cook up a meal. So you can just book her for the con, and catering and music and everything is handled. And we've learned that, yeah, as well as the art. Yeah, easy part. And we've learned that DMC likes lollipops, Powerpuff Girls, ice cream, so watch out for that next merger with Cold Stone Creamery and DMC.
Well, no. The funny joke is, everybody say, D, what's your next company gonna be? And I don't mean for this to happen. I love oatmeal cookies, because everybody likes the chocolate chip cookies. And that came from me going places and they always have cookies, but for some reason the chocolate chip and the sugar cookies always first to go. I don't care, banquets, the hostess tables, and it was always oatmeal because some eat oatmeal cookies. And I do a lot of speaking at schools, high schools and middle schools, and now I'm even going to the elementary school. So my next venture, probably, I'm looking for a baker because I want to make Daryl Makes Cookies, and I'm about to do cookies.
So everybody, I want you to give yourselves a hand for coming out here tonight. Let's hear one time for our panels, and we'll see you downstairs. Don't forget, support your artists, podcast Blerdlines, enjoy the con. Oh, and also tomorrow, we're doing a one-on-one conversation with DMC called The King of Rock. Enjoy the con.
You're listening to the Blerdlines podcast. Follow us on Facebook at the Blerdlines podcast and on Twitter at BlerdlinesPod. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.